Hello everyone and welcome to another history video. So today we're taking a look at Oculus Reanimator in history format. So I kind of wanted to play with the Oculus today. That is using things like Unearth or Persist to reanimate onto the battlefield as early as turn 2. So on turn 1 you can dot scour or looting. And then turn 2, you can unearth or persist the Oculus onto the battlefield. And we're also playing Barrowgoyf in this deck, which is another great unearth target. So normally you only have Oculus for that, and now we have Barrowgoyf to boot. And what's really nice about the Oculus is that it has a lot of hits. Obviously, getting another Oculus is really good when you manifest it, but even hitting things like Barrowgoyf, Psychic Frog, and Emperor Bones is really good. And even milling the summoned Bahamut into the graveyard with the Oculus is actually really good, since you can just persist it, or if you have an Emperor Bones, you can attack immediately with it, and also destroying up to one target non-permanent. So hence I'm gonna be hopping over to some History Professor 3 to show you guys how the deck does. So let's hop on there. What if I just Dotsies myself on turn 2? And just leave up a Fatal Push? Okay. They ponder... They could have like something like a Force of Negation. This does make things a little bit tricky though. Should I do it? It's so risky, but... Well... I did the thing! Oh my god. Well... Things are going great, I guess. Oh, they're also like a Reanimator. Oh, I see. I could do it in response to attacking, but... I just want to kind of deal damage right now. Okay, so no... Okay. 5, 7, and 9. So if I deal 9 damage, opponent goes to... And then let's say they reanimate the Aatrox, even if they block the Oculus. They'll still take 4, 6, 8, 9 damage. So how do I want to do this, right? They found an Essence Flux, so they can even blink it in response. We might actually lose this one, despite having an absolutely insane start. They're exactly at 1. Ooh, boy. No, that's actually not true. So opponent goes to 11, but then the face down card is a Psychic Frog, which can grow to a 3/4. So we have 4, 6, 8, 11. Opponent's exactly at 11. So they would have to have exactly a Fatal Push here. You see how we've never played against a Reanimator ever in this... And then all of a sudden we see a Reanimator as soon as we play a Reanimator? Coincidence? I think not. I think not. I feel like if we play Sarah's Emissary and then we just call Creature, we're just gonna win the game. The thing is, they also have a Necromancy, which is kind of bad. So they can also like steal our stuff. So maybe not. Are we not supposed to play a Reanimate target? Because of that? Since they have a Necromancy? Questions. I mean, definitely Fatal Push seems absolutely bad, so that's an easy target that we can just get rid of. I'm just not sure about the rest of the cards. Actually, no. Fatal Push does help us kill the Psychic Frog, huh? No, I don't want to play Fatal Push. I don't want to play Fatal Push. Maybe we just ignored the Psychic Frog. We're going second, though. Oh no, the timer. Okay, so we have a dispute. I think we're gonna be shocking this in. Since I need the red source from the Prismatic Vista. Okay, opponent didn't do anything. We actually might not be able to grab a mountain with this. Because we just drew a Spell Pierce as well. So they just drew this. I guess the best card to take out is Psychic Frog, Spell Pierce, Mystical Dispute. We'll go with the Psychic Frog here. Leave up a Mystical Dispute. We're not going to preemptively put the Oculus in the graveyard since they can have a necromancy. Like I said, just in time. Fatal push. Okay, this time around, I'm going to get rid of an Oculus in the graveyard. And then we're gonna persist it. We're not cracking this Prismatic Vista because we can always just potentially draw an island and then we can crack the Prismatic Vista for a mountain instead. So these are all non-lands, which is kind of scary. I mean, they could just be holding on to it as well. Four cars in the yard. Opponent's still looking at my graveyard, so they must have another necromancy, perhaps. I'm pretty confident with the Fairy Macabre, though. Can I choose after it comes down? Nice. And then we're gonna let this through. A fatal push. Very, very nice. So fatal push now. And then I'm going to play the Emperor Bones if they discard something, and they didn't. So we're just gonna attack. If they discard something, they have another Necromancy, so I have to Emperor Bones. If I just find another land, I could have gone Emperor Bones, leave up a Mystical Dispute here. Aquatic Subtlety. Okay, we need to find one land right here. No land, so bit unfortunate. Guess I should just take away all the targets. Alright, last turn potentially. We got a lot of creatures, so... Okay, there's one aquatic subtlety. We see an Atroxa, but they don't have a land to blink it here, so it's gonna go to the graveyard. Alright. Very nice. Okay, that's a mulligan. That is unfortunately a keep. Unfortunately. I probably have to do this now in case I draw a 2-mana card next turn. So we're playing against the same deck that we just played against last... Oh no, this one's a little bit different. They're playing Ephemerate. Path to Exile is... good. I think I have to take away the Ephemerate, since they can bounce the Quantum Riddler. Yeah, it's a completely different meta if you just play a different deck like this. If you play a graveyard deck like this. Unearth. Okay. I think I'm just going to cycle this on Earth. Bahamut. Does the Path to Exile put it to the battlefield tapped? It does, so I can't activate my Fatal Push here. Thank you for the land. Alright, let's get rid of you. No counter spell. We'll play another Baraglyph here. So I'm kind of looking for a persist right now. Let's looting first. No persist. Let's attack. Oh, wow. Didn't expect that. Actually, it feels almost like a scam if I Oculus here. Because then I have to get rid of a Faithless Looting. I think I'm just playing a Psychic Frog here. So another Aquatic Subtlety deck. I didn't know there were this many Aquatic Subtlety decks, but I guess we're playing a little bit of a different meta here because I decided to queue in as a Reanimator. So they just tossed in a bunch of Reanimate decks. Interestingly enough. So they found Ephemerate. I think our only chance is if we get an Emperor Bones or something to get rid of this Aatroxa. They found an Aquatic Subtlety. I think this game actually might be a bit over. Yeah, I think so. No! Oh, I gotta persist. If I get a land, I can go Oculus into a persist to kind of bait it out? Maybe? What? You don't care about your Ephemerate coming down? I don't get it. I mean, I guess they have another Agent of Treachery and Aquatic Subtlety coming down. That's still a bit strange to me. They really do not want me to get value out of this. They just like lost their Ephemerate twice. This kind of makes no sense in my opinion, but I don't know. Another Ephemerate. They really don't want to use Agent of Treachery, huh? I think this game is probably over though. Almost surely over. Because they have a fragment reality, they have counter spell. Looks to be over, to be honest with you. Well, I guess I just gotta get lucky. Honestly, opponent shouldn't even counter this, by the way. It is a big throw if they counter this. So, opponent is playing that kind of deck with just bunch of blink spells. So they don't use a graveyard, so they must have like Rest in Peace probably. Yeah, Fatal Push is kind of useless because they don't play any like 2-mana cards outside of this card, Thunder Trap. I guess if you get rid of Aquatic Subtlety, their deck is just done, right? We get rid of their Aquatic Subtlety and then what can they do? No land. Okay, no land is a little bit unlucky there. Okay, nice. Okay, now we're talking. Now we just need to leave up a Mystical Dispute and we're good to go. We even got a Thoughtseize. Wonderful. I should have actually Thoughtseize first to potentially grow the Baraglyph, but I'm dumb. Okay, so I guess just get rid of Aquatic Subtlety then. Summon Bahamut. Since they don't play any like Necromancy, like this should be a easy peasy. We just Mystical Dispute this and we're good to go. Four, 6, 8. Alright, let's do that again. That was actually really easy. That was an excellent start, going first with the looting and unearth. Pretty disgusting, if you ask me. Yeah, that's a lot of disruptions. I don't actually hate it. I don't actually hate this. Oh. Wrath of the Skies. I think we could just get rid of Aquatic Subtlety here. Since we can just draw Surgical and win the game potentially as well. Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually really good. So we have some dead cards now. We got Emperor Bones. We can't even Surgical anymore. Bahamut costs 9 mana. I guess I should mill them, then? We aren't drawing well either. So that's a counter spell. I would have gotten rid of a counter spell anyways. I mean, at this point, I'm gonna be able to hardcast Bahamut real quick, right? I'm gonna be able to hardcast Bahamut right now. Hello? I have 7 mana, so if I draw 2 mana, we can hardcast it. Which is pretty ridiculous. Considering that my opponent can't even draw anything right now. Low-key, us milling 2 of their lands was actually kind of insane. Okay. Looting. Persist. Do. Another rest in peace? Sure. There's a good chance opponent uses Wrath of the Skies to clear up my Psychic Krog, so I'm just gonna hold on to these. Okay, Spell Pierce was actually insane. Insane draw. Hold on to this Emperor Bones. No thank you. When I have a Spell Pierce. Divine Purge. So they can Wrath of the Skies now. I guess I should just deal as much damage as possible before they go away. Okay. We have 7 mana. Kind of crazy. Mystical Dispute. Actually insane, by the way. Wait, do we win? Can they just steal this and then steal the Quantum Riddler? 4, 6, it's 6 damage. I mean, I don't win, but it's actually kind of crazy. Oh my god, what was this game? Oh, okay, that's not bad. I can't unearth the Bahamut, but this is decent. Ketramos. And a Parallax Wave, that's cool. Each player returns to the battlefield all the cards they own exiled with it. Interesting. So they're gonna Thoughtseize my Emperor Bones right now. I'm gonna take away the Fragment Reality. Because even if they Thoughtseize my Emperor Bones, I can unearth it. Which means in later turns I can... Okay. They didn't do it. That's fine. Psychic Frog was a good draw. Relic of Progenitus. It's cool stuff opponents got. We're gonna have a Baragoyf, but they do have a relic to exile my stuff, so... I think the Parallax Wave is actually really cool in that deck with the Ketramos and Belmerk. That's pretty good. Why didn't they just Belmerk there? I guess they're kind of scared. I guess they're kind of scared. Because they see Summon Bahamut with the Psychic Frog now, you know? Okay, I am going to play the Emperor of Bones. They're not going to crack it still, so they're gonna still have to leave up mana for this, my cards here. If they play Ketramos, they're dead. It's gonna be too slow. Yeah, it's gonna be too slow. Yeah, it's gonna be way too slow. They're even taking damage. So this one says it needs to have 7 or more. So if I discard the Bahamut and then Emperor Bones the Bahamut, it'll still be only like... So they're still dead. Ketramos is actually pretty interesting. And they have Enchantment Exile, Instant Speed Exile. So Sarah's Emissary isn't like too good either, but Dismember actually does answer both the Belmerk plus a Ketramos. So this seems really, really good. Opponent might bring Rest in Peace despite having a Belmerk. Alright, let's see. Thought Scour. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. So we are going second. We have a Fatal Push plus a Dismember. But we do have to remember that our deck, we are playing a 18 land deck. So the chances of us drawing a land is only like 30%, something like that. So I'm gonna have to mulligan there. Alright, so I'm gonna start by fetching Black. Since I can still looting into Unearth next turn if I do this. Right, they have a Containment Priest which we can get rid of. The Fatal Push, however, is probably the card to go, honestly. Also, opponent's mana base is definitely not looking good so far. Bahamut. So if we get an Unearth here, because they don't have a white source, we can actually animate this. Aw, man. Oh man. Alright, opponent surrenders. Alright, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I felt like this kind of sucked. I'm not saying the deck kind of sucked, but I'm basically playing a different format right now. Like, this really, really sucks. So, for example, in the last 30 days, ever since the banning of the some of the cards, I actually haven't seen an Aquatic Subtlety deck or maybe like any Reanimate decks for the last 30 days. And all of a sudden I queue this deck with Persist, Unearth. I'm playing against the same kind of decks. My opponent's also trying to reanimate stuff. I think somebody did say recently that they have changed the rank system so that it does also take into account some like deck weighting and stuff like that, like deck strength and stuff like that. And I feel like this is actually what's happening here. The last 5 matches, I've only played against Reanimators, which is not something that you see ever in Historic. It's actually kind of crazy. Basically, if you play this deck, you might find yourself playing in a completely different meta than what you're used to. One of the reasons why I didn't really like this deck, I mean, it could have been a completely insane coincidence. I'm pretty sure, like, something to do with, like, the deck strength or, like if your deck plays Aquatic Subtlety or Persist, you're going to be matched up against other decks that are also playing those kind of decks. Which is kind of boring because you're just kind of playing against the same deck over and over again, you know, things like that. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think for me personally, I don't think it's playable because of that. But deck itself is, I think it's fine. I think it's doing some powerful stuff. Like, you got Emperor Bones for the Bahamut to close out the game immediately, or like you got the Psychic Frog normally, and the Barrowglyph is just good. And the Horn Oculus is going to be the premier target for the Unearth. But Unearth has some pretty nice other nice targets like a Horn Oculus, Barrowglyph, and you can even go into Emperor Bones from an Unearth into some Bahamut. So there's some cool lines there. And the fact that you are, because this deck plays things like Persist and Unearth, like, reanimating stuff on turn 2 is actually going to be pretty consistent, especially with the 3 copies of Dot Scours and 4 copies of Looting. Sometimes you can even boss these yourself and then Unearth, so that's also pretty good. The Spell Pierce was pretty good, so everything was pretty good here. As for the sideboard, Alpine Moon, the fact that this deck is splashing red means that we can have things like Alpine Moon against Valakut opponent, or you can even use this as an Eldrazi hate against Ugin's Lab. And you also have 2 copies of Meltdown versus an Affinity, which is also really, really huge in my opinion. And then you got another Barrowglyph against like other mid-range decks or against fast aggro decks for the life gain. And you got 2 copies of Dismember versus Magus the Moon types, Harbinger, things like that. And then you got 1 copy of Fairy Macabre that you can grab with the Barrowglyph. And you got a copy of a Surgical for the other Graveyard Hate. And you got 2 copies of Sarah's Emissary versus, like, if opponent's like playing purely all creature deck, you can reanimate this instead. Or against a Valakut, Sarah's Emissary is going to be also really, really good. So yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. A little bit disappointing because if you play this deck, apparently you're going to get a different slice of the meta. But what can you do? So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye!